Konnichiwa, bitches. A lot of time has gone by since we've last seen one another, but I'm still Gretchen Cartwright, and I'm happy to bring to you this year's draft selection show. I don't know if any of these Japanese folks know exactly what's going on, but the CTN has officially gone global. I'm in Tokyo, Japan, inside of the insanely beautiful skybox at the JRA Tokyo Racecourse. I know our commissioner has explained everything that's happening tonight, but let's just go over things one final time. Tonight, you'll see what I believe will be 3 incredible horse races. The first race will consist of horses representing the Atlantic Conference, the second will consist of horses representing the Pacific Conference, and the third will consist of the top 5 horses from the previous 2 races. The winner of the final race will earn the number 1 pick in this year's CTN Fantasy Football Draft. It's that simple. To make things even more exciting, as it's already been reported, the races will be commentated by none other than legendary wrestling announcer Jim Ross. The horses in our first race are beginning to take the field. Let's go take a look at our contestants. What you're about to see in a moment is called the paddock, or the parade ring. This is where our audience gets to observe the horses' demeanor before they begin the actual race. Here you can see the horses that will be competing, their corresponding saddlecloth number, and the jockeys that will be taking them across the finish line. Each horse is 3 years of age, and in this race, Enchantment is the only filly amongst colts. As the paddock begins, let's take a look at Lexington's horse, the starry-eyed Twinkle Twinkle. The All-Stars are a team that could definitely benefit from a top selection. Lexington had the 15th pick last year and selected Marvin Harrison Jr. Diddy Bop is Croydon's horse, and regardless of how good he does tonight, the Cannibals will have the 20th selection as is customary for the champion. Slayerville's entry in this race is Big Fish. The North Jackets finished 5-8 with Brees Hall being their top pick at number 16. Liberty City will be looking for a super heroic effort from their horse, Captain America. Liberty City had the 3rd pick last year and selected wide receiver A.J. Brown. The Walking Dead's horse, appropriately named Creature Feature, will look to move Woodbury up from the 14th pick they held last season to number 1. Who doesn't love a happy ending? Baltimore drafted 4th last season and selected Derrick Henry. They won the East with an 8-5 record but couldn't go any further than the divisional round of the playoffs. Boomer Sooner! The Gorilla family held the number 1 overall pick last season, but their selection of Christian McCaffrey will forever be controversial. Enchantment wants to prove she can run with the big boys. At pick number 17, the Lake Jackson Cyclones brought back their favorite quarterback, Dak Prescott. Japan has a thriving surfing scene, so the Wavemakers should feel right at home. Surf's Up can move Virginia Beach from pick number 6 in last year's draft to number 1 overall. Last, but certainly not least, Lebanon's Final Frontier could make a dangerous Pioneer team even more lethal. Lebanon held the 13th selection and proved the number 13 is not bad luck after all. What you're seeing now is called the Post Parade. The spectators get one final opportunity to observe the horses and the jockeys before they enter the gate. Everything from how alert the horses' eyes are to if their ears are pricked and even the arch of their neck is examined. This is a nice little warm-up right before the race begins. I think now is as good of a time as ever to send it down to good old JR.
Much obliged to be here, Gretchen. And they're off. Final Frontier is on the outside, and he's taken the early lead. Don't look now, but Diddy Bop is pulling ahead. Captain America is currently in the 3rd place. In last place is Creature Feature. That's pretty typical of the Woodbury Walking Dead. Croydon's horse, Diddy Bop, is asserting himself, which is indicative of the Cannibals. They've won 3 championships in a row. We're coming around the first turn of what's becoming a 3-horse race. It's a cluster for the 4th position with Big Fish, Surf's Up, Happy Ending, and Baby Boomer, all jockeying for position. Croydon might just run away with this one. He's eating up ground quickly. Twinkle Twinkle is falling further behind. Happy Ending is making a move inside. Diddy Bop is still holding firm in first place. We're more than halfway through the race. Can Final Frontier make a push to challenge Diddy Bop? Creature Feature, Twinkle Twinkle, and Enchantment are pulling up the rear. We're coming around the bend with only 2 furlongs to go. Here comes Big Fish. He's putting pressure on his division rival. There's only 1 furlong to go. Wait, it's Enchantment. She's surging, blowing past everybody. Wait just a minute. Enchantment wins the race. What an impressive run. She was in last for a majority of the competition. If all the races are like this, we're in for one hell of a night, folks.
Wow, that race more than exceeded my expectations. What an incredible effort by Enchantment and Holly Doyle to make that last-minute push. Winning is nothing new for Holly. She has more than 12 major racing wins on her resume. Just remember, even though Diddy Bop finished in the top 5, they will not be advancing to the final stage. That means Captain America, who came in 6th place, gets moved into the top 5 now. It'll be Enchantment, Happy Ending, Final Frontier, Big Fish, and Captain America continuing their quest for the #1 overall selection. Teams like Creature Feature and Baby Boomer, 2 of the worst teams in the league last season, will be selecting outside of the top 10. Exactly how deep into the draft they'll be selecting will be determined by the times the Pacific Conference horses run in our next race. With that being said, let's take a look at our next 10 challengers. There's a lot of top-notch jockeys taking to the track in this upcoming race. I would say the field is highlighted by the Ortiz brothers, who just happen to be riding for divisional rivals Eastwood and Kalamazoo. There are also 3 fillies competing: Pekin Pie, Luck Be a Lady, and 2 in the pink. They will also all be ridden by female jockeys. Just like in our last contest, every horse competing is 3 years old. The track maintenance crew is making sure the grounds are optimal for our next race as we speak. The workers utilize a farm tool called a harrow, which smooths the track surface between races to ensure the safety of all our horses tonight. Not only do we want to see the best possible races, but we want to make sure both the horses and jockeys come away from this event unscathed. Now that we've covered all the bases, let's head to the paddock. Up first, we have El Chapo. The Vados held the 12th pick and selected quarterback CJ Stroud, who could be labeled as a bust considering his decline in performance compared to the year before. The Baba men were the worst team in the league, finishing with a 3-10 record. Unfortunately, Kalamazoo and their fans are all too familiar with that position. With the 8th pick in last year's draft, they selected Amon-Ra St. Brown. Twin City held the 9th pick and drafted quarterback Josh Allen. Despite their record, they made it all the way to the Pacific Conference Championship game by season's end. The team that beat Twin City in the Pacific Conference Championship game was Eastwood. Eastwood's draft last season was seen as one of the best. With the 7th pick, they selected Jamar Chase, but it was their 6th round pick of Jaden Daniels that shook up the entire league. With the 11th pick in the draft, Kansas City selected Joe Mixon. Saquon Barkley was literally drafted just one pick before the Fusion made their selection. There are two things Carson's owner, Rocco Pasquale, likes: quarterback Carson Wentz and his home state of Pennsylvania. Rocco had to wait all the way until pick 19 before he could make his first selection last year. Run, OJ, run! The sight of OG's getaway knifing his way through the competition is enough to send chills down anyone's spine. Justin Jefferson was the Cushmasters' first-round pick at number 5. If you believe in numerology, you'd have to say Vegas has a pretty solid chance after being given the lucky number 7 for their horse's saddlecloth. With the 18th pick, Vegas selected running back Jonathan Taylor, who played pretty well when he was able to make it onto the field. I've heard great things about Third's Barbecue's pecan pie, but it was the pie on their menu, not the one on the racetrack tonight. Los Angeles had a favorable pick at number 2 last year and drafted wide receiver Tyreek Hill with that selection. The Slobberknockers are still looking for their first winning season, and they had a great chance of doing that with the 10th pick in last year's draft. Seattle would select Saquon Barkley, a player who nearly ran for an absolutely astounding 2,000 yards. As we watch the post-parade, it appears everyone looks ready and willing to compete. A chance to advance to the final round and challenge for the number 1 pick is on the line. The top 5 will advance and move on, while the remaining 5 will rely on their times to dictate their position from picks 11 to 19. Once again, let's send it down to Jim Ross, who will handle the play-by-play once the horses are out of the gate.
And here we go, folks. El Chapo bursts out the gate. But it appears 2 in the Pink is taking the early command in this race. Thunderbird and Hell on Hooves is giving her chase. The pace here is moderate at best. El Chapo is on the outside trying to make up ground. Eating Tide Pods and Luck Be a Lady are in the middle of the pack with Pecan Pie, Pennsylvania, and OJ's Getaway gathered behind. It's becoming a cluster in the front, but all the way in the back is Kalamazoo's Taco Meat. 2 in the Pink is just about a neck in front of Thunderbird as we're now a quarter of a mile into the race. Taco Meat just passed OJ's Getaway at the caboose. Things are tighter than a tick on a dog, folks. Hell on Hooves is applying pressure on 2 in the Pink, far up ahead. Remember, only the top 5 survive. Pennsylvania is fading, but Pecan Pie is trying to assert herself. Look at Pecan Pie on the outside. 2 in the Pink is holding everyone off. She's led the entirety of the race. There's only less than a quarter mile to go. Hey, keep your eye on Taco Meat. Hell on Hooves is in trouble. So is 2 in the Pink. What in the world are we watching? Oh my God, it's a photo finish. I can't believe it. Taco Meat wins by a head. He came all the way from the back at the top of the stretch to win this race. This is the definition of defying the odds. By God, I don't know how much more of this I can take. Folks, I need a drink.
That was a heart-pounding thrill ride of a race. I can't believe Taco Meat covered so much ground that lay into the run. Kalamazoo's horse will obviously qualify for the finals, as well as El Chapo, 2 in the Pink, Hell on Hooves, and OJ's Getaway. How crazy is it that both Ortiz brothers will compete for the number 1 pick in the draft? Sadly, Los Angeles, Vegas, Kansas City, Carson, and Seattle have been eliminated. Their final times will be compared to the bottom 5 in the Atlantic, and by show's end, we'll know where they fall in this year's draft order. Once again, the maintenance crews are working to get this track in pristine condition, and our horses definitely need some rest. So let's take this time to get a look at some of the posts coming through on X. We have everyone from fans to celebrities chiming in on social media about what they're witnessing tonight. It's only right that Megan Thee Stallion has a comment about the race. I'm sure she'd like for Enchantment and Leisha McCullough to join her in having a hot girl summer. The CT Inn has reached people from all different backgrounds, and we happily welcome everyone. It doesn't matter your gender, your color, or even your profession. It's come one, come all. Hey. Personally, this sounds sort of painful, but everybody is built differently, I guess. More power to ya. This particular fan obviously supports the Croydon Cannibals. It does appear that Croydon never loses anymore. 3 consecutive championship wins is absolutely unheard of. The Cannibals went from being the hunters to the hated. People like to see you climb the ladder. Then once you get to the top, they can't wait to watch the fall. Hey, it's our favorite beat writer, Steve McCafferty. Steve had a lot to say about the Woodbury Walking Dead on 2023 selection show. Woodbury's fans are still waiting for their franchise to have a winning season and make the playoffs. All I can say is, thank God they're not holding their breath. Wait, is that... okay, I just had to make sure. We might need to filter some of these posts. At the end of the day, we do have sponsors that we'd like to keep. I have absolutely no comment on this at all. The only thing I can do is repeat what I said earlier. The CT Inn is all-inclusive. Hey, now here's a celebrity that's been down with us for quite some time. Snoop initially rooted for the Los Angeles elitists. After not seeing the franchise go in the direction he hoped, he decided to align himself with Mile High. You just can't keep Snoop from something he enjoys, and I'm not talking about football, folks. I'm sure Rocco Pasquale is going to absolutely love this. One of his favorite players just showed his appreciation for being the inspiration of his horse's name. Carson Wentz had his best statistical season in 2017. Can you guess who drafted him? It was the Croydon Cannibals. Croydon enjoyed one of their better seasons with Carson Wentz as their quarterback and finished the season 8-5. Wentz got injured right before the Atlantic Conference Championship, and Croydon would lose in the penultimate game to the Hartford Hungry Hippos, 130-122. You just gotta love history and stats. Okay, getting back to what we came here for. Even the owner of AEW is watching our draft selection show. Don't worry, Tony. You can pay Jim Ross a lot more money than we can. Not that I'm complaining about my wages. Anyway, there will be no breaching of contracts over here, and we'll definitely be checking out Forbidden Door this upcoming Sunday afternoon. Oh my goodness, we just received a message from the governor of Japan. We are so grateful for her hospitality. This journey to the Far East has greatly eclipsed anything I could have ever imagined. Everyone is so nice, and it's so bright and colorful everywhere you go. I highly recommend you put this trip on your bucket list. I can definitely echo the sentiments of Hulkamaniac Harry. In one of the legendary Hulk Hogan's final appearances, he attended the CT Inn Honors Award show. For the fact he took the time to show our organization some love, I'm incredibly flattered. Much like everyone else, I too grew up repping the red and yellow. We forever love you, Hulk. Thank you so much for every memory you've left us with. Oh, come on. Not this creep again. Seriously, is anybody filtering these comments? We really need to be more diligent here. I'm not joking. The opinions expressed by this weirdo do not reflect the views of the CTN. Is it possible we can block this guy? Goodness frickin' gracious. Alright, now this is really cool. Bilbo's is a 4-star pizzeria in Kalamazoo, and to not show any sort of division, they're offering free pizza to both teams' fans if either team should win this race. What's your favorite topping? Me, personally, I need mushrooms and pepperoni. I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. Wow, now that's a sick burn by Tide. The Seattle Slobberknockers have definitely taken their lumps on the field, but now they're getting dissed by a laundry detergent brand. That's got to be a new low. I would also like to say the CTN does not endorse the consumption of those cool and colorful, delicious-looking pods. So much focus is put on the teams and owners in the CTN that sometimes the actual players can get overlooked. CeeDee Lamb obviously still holds a grudge against Terrence Buford for not drafting him number 1 overall. Nobody wants to be the last kid on the playground to get picked. These types of things actually matter to the players, and of course, their massive egos. When did this show become a place to plead your innocence? I'm not sure if Justin Tucker is against happy endings in general or just the name of Baltimore's horse. And I swear, if I see Diddy's name one more time tonight, I'm gonna lose my mind. Justin, I suggest you just serve your suspension and get ready for next season. Wow, I had no idea Kevin Hart was a fan of the CTN. Like I said earlier, our fans and supporters come from all walks of life. I almost feel bad for Christopher Sims and his wave makers for being the butt of Kevin's joke. No disrespect intended, but Kevin Hart does raise a fair point. If you remember, it was Stephen A. Smith that broke the news about the draft selection show heading to Japan. I'm so happy he's enjoying the program. Say what you want about him, but he's got a lot of followers and can bring a lot of attention to the league. We're definitely happy and proud to have Stephen A. Smith as a part of our network of friends. Oh dear God. Okay, I think we're done here. Whatever clown runs this account needs to get a life. If you're looking for attention, you're going to have to find it somewhere else, buddy. I hope you enjoyed all the tweets, or whatever it is we're supposed to call them now, I guess. It's always great to see the support we get from all across the globe. Ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived at our final race of the night. The winner will have their choice of whoever they feel is the absolute best available player in this year's draft. I can only imagine the rate at which our 10 owners' hearts are beating in this very moment. As we take a look at our lineup, it's important to point out that Big Fish and Hell on Hooves have different numbers this race. To avoid any duplication, Big Fish is now number 4 instead of number 2. And Hell on Hooves is number 8 instead of number 3. I really hope Gene Reagan and Thomas Pearson aren't superstitious. There will be 8 Colts and 2 fillies competing for the beautiful floral blanket befitting of a champion. All of these jockeys would love to add winning this one-of-a-kind event to their list of accomplishments and accolades. It appears the parade ring is about to commence, so let's take one final look at our participants. El Chapo finished in second place in his previous race, so he's a horse to keep our eyes on. Their jockey, Paco Lopez, has 43 major racing wins under his belt. He's known for being an aggressive rider, and even received suspensions for his tactics in the past. Most notably, he was suspended for striking a horse with his riding crop too forcefully. Taco Meat was the winner of our Pacific Conference race, so it's interesting to see he's not a favorite in the finals. That actually might be good for Kalamazoo because the Baba men are used to being the underdogs. Irad Ortiz, the older of the Ortiz brothers, has over 75 major racing wins. Two in the Pink came in third place in her previous race, but I think her main objective was just to qualify for the finals. Now that Jamie Kah has gotten her horse to the big race, I fully expect her to leave it all on the track. Jamie is 29 years old with only 2 major wins, so a victory here would be a big feather in her cap. Coming into this race, Captain America is surprisingly one of the favorites to go home with the crown. He finished 6th in the Atlantic Conference race, but advanced to the finals due to Croydon's precondition to forfeit. I'm sure Nick Juarez wants to capitalize off this second chance he's been given. Big Fish proved he could swim with the Sharks in his first race of the night. Antonio Frizzou has 8 major wins, but several secondary victories in his home country of Italy. How he came to ride for Slayerville is a bit fishy, to say the least. When I spoke to Gene Reagan about Antonio's appointment, he told me, "I like to keep things in the family." Happy Ending came in second, behind Enchantment, in our first race of the night. Baltimore's jockey, Damian Lane, has 41 career major wins, with 7 of those coming right here in Japan. To say Damian Lane has a home field advantage is a severe understatement. OJ's Getaway beat Pecan Pie by only a head to secure 5th place and advance to the finals. Yoga Kawada was born in Japan, so this is a homecoming for the 39-year-old jockey. Kawada has 15 major racing wins and owns the distinction of riding the first ever white horse to a victory under the Japanese Racing Association banner. Yuka's favorite quote is, "If it ain't white, it ain't right." Enchantment's come from behind win was highly exhilarating, but apparently the betting public is still not impressed. Holly Doyle has a projection of 9th place in the final race. Holly is also the youngest jockey in this race at only 28 years of age. Hell on Hooves came in 4th place in our previous competition, trailing 2 in the Pink, El Chapo and Taco Meat by only milliseconds. The Easy Riders jockey is Jose Ortiz. He's the younger of the Ortiz brothers. Jose has 48 career major wins and he won Jockey of the Year in 2017. Final Frontier's jockey, Junior Alvarado, is one of the hottest and most decorated jockeys participating in this race. With over 50 major wins, Junior is coming off of a Belmont Stakes and Kentucky Derby win from earlier this year. Here is one last post-parade to showcase the condition of the horses as they pass by. The stakes don't get any higher and the moment won't get any bigger. A lot of money will be made and legacies born. Most importantly, some lucky owner will receive the #1 pick in this year's fantasy football draft. This is personally my 4th time hosting the draft selection show, and the league has finally let me out of the confines of the studio. The excitement in here is absolutely palpable, and there's no one in the world who can relay that feeling better than Jim Ross. Jim, the floor is all yours.
Well, folks, the time for talk is over. This one's for all the marbles. Gentlemen, start your engines. In the opening stages, it appears 2 in the Pink and Captain America are glued to one another. Captain America takes a slim lead, while El Chapo has gained ground on the outside. You can see Baltimore and Slayerville's divisional rivalry has carried over onto the track. Captain America is really stretching out his advantage up front, while the rest of the competition is in a traffic jam a few lengths back. Big Fish, Happy Ending, and our Atlantic Conference winner Enchantment are biding their time while OJ's Getaway and Pacific Conference winner Takameet lag behind. Big Fish and Happy Ending are looking for an opening with two in the pink, Final Frontier and El Chapo staving them off. We're finally getting eyes on OJ's Getaway and Taco Meat as we pass the halfway mark in this race. It remains to be seen if two in the pink or El Chapo can apply any added pressure on Captain America. El Chapo is turning up the heat as he's banking on finding the right angle to go for his attack on the outside. Wow, who's that blazing up the middle? Oh my, it's Happy Ending. Where did Happy Ending find this energy? Does El Chapo have one last gasp left? This is going to come down to a desperate finish. Did El Chapo get the win? Or was it Happy Ending? We've got to take another look at this astonishing finish while the stewards determine our winner. Look at the acceleration by Happy Ending. You'd think he had a gear shift. But El Chapo wasn't about to let Happy Ending run away with the win unchallenged. Watch as El Chapo digs deep and crosses the finish line. Paco Lopez was whipping El Chapo like a government mule. The results are in, folks. Good God Almighty, Happy Ending has actually done it. The Baltimore Clackers will have the #1 pick in this year's CTN draft. What an unforgettable night this has been. I'd be remiss if I didn't say the CTN's draft selection show wasn't a slobber knocker. Thanks for having me, folks.
No, JR, we should be thanking you. I've never been more excited for a CTN event than I've been tonight. I'm not alone when I say that this is the best fantasy football league of all time. In 1 week, it'll be the Baltimore Clackers that will be selecting first overall with the #1 pick in the draft. We can all start predicting exactly who that selection will be. Not only that, but all the owners can now start projecting who might be available when their team is on the clock. Now that all the races have completed and the times have been tabulated, let's take a look at this year's draft order. Ironically, Liberty City and Mile High maintain the same draft position they held in 2024. Kalamazoo and Twin City held the 8th and 9th picks last season respectively. This season, the Baba Men and Trotters switch positions in draft order. The Carson Cadets selected at number 18 last year, and his horse definitely didn't do him any favors, as the Cadets moved down to 19 this season. The only thing that I can guarantee is that anything can happen on draft day. Ladies and gentlemen, I truly hope you enjoyed watching this show as much as I enjoyed presenting it. I'll be tuning in like everyone else a week from now to see who's headed to which team. Thank you as always, and have a great night.